What is going on, guys? DBG here, and in this video we are going to be doing another tier list. And this tier list right here is going to be the best overall cards in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. So we got a lot of really good players here. We have over 70 total, so I've split this into 7 tiers. Honestly, from looking at these players, I don't think we can really put any of them in worthless tier. So we've got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and E tier. And we're going to try keep no more than like 12 cards in each tier. Which means that there's going to be some pretty good cards that are going to go into F tier. That's why I don't have a worthless tier, because let's be real, I don't think any of these cards are worthless. So yeah, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit... Initially, we were trying to hit 225,000 subscribers by the end of the year, but let's be real, that's just not happening. If we hit 222,000 subscribers, that would be absolutely insane. So we're trying to go to 222k by the end of the year. So if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We upload more MyTEAM content than anywhere else. And you better believe in the run up to the new year, we are going to be banging out videos. So yeah, anyway, now let's get on to it. So, first of all, we got Elgin Baylor. I mean, Elgin Baylor, D tier. He's athletic. Like, he is athletic. He can run really fast. He's a moderately good shooter. His defense is decent. He's just quite undersized. Can only play one position. I get it, he is an opal, and to be honest, like, yes, he is the best opal in NBA 2K21 MyTEAM. I will give him that accolade. He is the best opal in 2K21 right now. But that doesn't mean he's in the top 40 cards in the game. So, yeah, he's going D tier. Then we are going George Miken. E tier. Do I put him in E or F tier? I'm going to put him in E because there's not a lot of great big men, but he'd be like very much on the E or the F tier. Like, he's okay. There's a few good things that George Miken does. I mean, he's not this spectacular card by any means, but he's solid, I guess. He does a few things very well. Then we got JoJo. So, I mean, I get it, he can get clamps, but like, it's just could be. It's just too little, too late. It's just a little too late. Like, get out. Leave this tier. Get to F tier. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in F tier. Like, looking at these guys right here, I like JoJo. He's in the worst 10 players here. I'm sorry, JoJo's in the worst 10 players here. And we got Steph Curry. Get up into S tier. We have struggled right now. We have our JoJo White in F tier. I might have to move JoJo because JoJo's not actually bad, but none of these cards are bad. But Steph, yeah, Steph is top 10 without question. And we got Balake Griffin. He is S tier, no question about it as well. Blake is a beast. These are the best 2 cards, well, arguably the 2 best cards in the game right now. Both absolutely incredible. And we have Dr. J. I mean, fully badged up, he's A. Not fully badged up, he's like C or D. I'm gonna put him in A tier because, again, fully badged up, he's like a Elgin Baylor with a better release, a secondary position, and can get range. So that's basically what he is badged up. So he's going A tier. And we got PG. I mean, I think PG is very similar to Elgin. I would take PG over Elgin just due to his height, but I'm gonna put them on the same tier. I think it's a little bit ridiculous to split these 2 guys up because I think they are very similar in how they play. But I'm gonna put them in the same tier, even though it might come to the stage where PG goes up 1 tier, but we're gonna put him here. Draymond. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. Do I put Draymond in lower S or upper A? I like this card so much. I am the biggest Draymongering fan there is. He's S tier for me. If you want to argue him in A tier, I'm not going to complain. I might move him down. Brandon Roy. I mean, he's F. With these cards we have on this list, Brandon Roy's F tier. He's fine. He does a job. Actually, JoJo. You can get out of F tier right now, and you can get into E tier. Dominique Wilkins, C. He's like a little bit of a worse Julius Erving. I mean, he's fine. Don't get me wrong, like, the card is fine. He's got a really good release. He's still more than usable in game. But just the thing about Dominique, just think about his dribble sigs, the way everything is with this card. I think there are a lot of better options. And there are cheaper options. Again, like Eddie Jones, a much cheaper option. So, yeah, let's put Dominique in C tier. Clay. Ooh. Or Paul Pierce, sorry. I mean, E tier. I like Pierce. I don't necessarily... I think the corner shooting is a huge problem on current gen. I just don't like him on next gen. I really like him on current gen. I think power forward he's really good. He's still in my team. But next gen, I just don't really like him. And he can't shoot from the corners current. So, is he around the like 50... He's probably in the like 50 to 60 mark in terms of players. So, yeah, that's E tier. It's E tier. Klay Thompson. D tier because of what he does. Like, if you're gonna ask me who's the better overall card, maybe Paul Pierce over Klay Thompson, but Klay is still one of the best at what he does because he's an elite defender, he's an elite catch and shoot player, and he can play at that 2-guard position and be a great 3-and-D guy. So earlier on, if you're asking me who I would rather have if I have an overall bad team, I'd say Pierce, but like, I would assume most people who were good enough to get Pierce when he was out have managed to build a good enough team around that they no longer need Pierce. But this is a tough one. I'm going to give the nod to Klay, but it's tough. Jaylen Brown. A. Jaylen Brown when he's badged up is fantastic. Like, non-badged up Jaylen Brown's probably B. Nah, he's probably C. But when Jaylen Brown's badged up, A tier. He's ridiculous. J.R. Smith, get into S tier. J.R. has got one of the better releases in the game. Not because they're one of the best. One of the better releases in the game. It is a more than usable release in 2K. As well as that, he's got gold clamps, half range extender. He dunks on everybody. He's got a lot of good things going for him. And for that reason, J.R. Smith, go get into S tier. A really, really decent card. So that is where he is going. Then we are on to Patrick Ewing. I mean, I think he's better than Miken. He's E tier though. Let's move Miken down 1 to F tier. I mean, Ewing's fine. Like, he's fine. That's the only way I can describe him. He's nothing spectacular. He is fine. He's good interior scoring set. He's a good interior center. But overall, the way most people play the game, the most effective way to play the game, he's really not great. Then we got Tyree Gavin's E. Like, I am if you want to put Tyree Gavin in F, I'm not even gonna argue it. He's definitely no higher than E. I'm one of the biggest Tyree Gavin fans there is because I love set shot 4. He's got set shot 4, which is a set shot, but it's super quick, and it's one of my favorite. Well, not one of my favorite releases. It's one of the releases I don't mind, but a lot of people hate it. Because it's kind of similar to what 107 was last year, where the feet and hands move at different times. But I really like it. But he's still got half quick for his step. Got a lot of good things apart from that. But in general, like, look, he's not better than Paul. He's not as good as these three guys. And we got Rafer Olsen. I mean, I like Rafer Olsen. I really like Rafer Olsen as a point guard. I think he definitely belongs in... He belongs in D tier. He's good, man. He's good. Then we got Larry Johnson. I'm going to put Larry Johnson in D tier as well. Dominique's going up to C. It's going up to B tier, though. Yeah, Dominique belongs in B tier. And then... I'm going to put Paul George because I like him more than all these. I'm going to put Paul George in C tier. Then we got James Worthy. F tier. Like, he's not awful. He's just kind of there. If anyone's ever used James Worthy, you know that he's just there. There's no other way to describe him. Like, he'll play at the 4. You won't notice him on the court. He might score 4 points for you. He'll be a competent defender. He is bang average at everything. Like, the only way you can describe the card is by saying he's just there. He's just there on the floor. You've paid probably 200k to badge up a card that can't really do anything. Then we got John Wall. John Wall, B tier. B tier. No range extender is a big problem with him, and yeah, because he was the best at what he did, you might have argued A tier, but there are two guys, in my opinion, badged up that are just way, way better than John Wall, and they're basically the same position. Well, they're the same position, and they're equally as fast, so yeah, John Wall in here in B tier. Then we got Gilbert Arenas. I mean, he's objectively not terrible when he's got all the stats and badged up. I hate his release, though. I hate it with a passion. But, like, he's objectively not terrible. I think his value is awful. Like, his value is so bad because he's, like, well over 100k. And I think his actual worth in game, if you were to ask me what he's actually worth, I'd say around 50k. Like, it's one of the highest premiums paid on a card is getting Gilbert Arenas. But, no, he's fine. He's fine. Then we've got Timmy D. Tim Duncan. Go B tier. Go B tier. Duncan's good in the post. He's good on defense. He's slow though, and I don't like it. His release is okay. I'm gonna say I hate his release. I don't really like his release. It is okay. So for that reason, Timmy D, get into B. He belongs in B tier right here. So that is where Tim Duncan is going to be. Then we got Peja Stojakovic. What am I doing putting him up here? Peja's F tier. Peja's terrible. If there was a worthless tier, Peja would be in it. Now, he's the only card so far I can genuinely say is just straight up worthless. Peja Stojakovic belongs in worthless tier. No question about it. Then we got Dave. A. He's not quite the best center anymore. He's not quite this like mythical defensive card. Like Larry Nance plays almost good defense, as in Wayne Embry's a better defender. He's still a decent shooter, can still get range and stuff, but overall I think Cowens is he's just kind of there. He's a really good center. He's no longer the best, and I think he's somewhere between that 10 and 20 mark. Tmac, same. These guys were both kind of lower end of my top 10 when I was made my top 100 list, and I believe that Dave Cowens and Tmac both belong kind of in the same tier, and it is not quite top tier, but the next tier down. Tmac's problem is that he's got no clamps. Realistically, that's it. Other than that, though, he's a near perfect card, and either way, still really good. Then we got Amare. I mean, Amare, get into... I mean, is he better than Miken? I mean, I think he's objectively just fast Miken. So, E tier. He sucks. Like, he absolutely sucks. And I hate him, but he's objectively better than George Miken. So he's going into E tier. Then you got Ray Allen, D tier, same as Clay. Yeah, he's a 3-and-D shooter. Same with John Havlicek. Like, these guys all got to go in the same tier. Like, there's nothing really to separate these guys, except for obviously price, where you can get Clay for significantly cheaper than the others. But Ray Allen's fine. I mean, plays a little bit of defense, can drive to the basket a little bit. Havlicek is a better defender than Ray Allen, except he doesn't drive to the basket quite as well, and all of them can hit wide open threes. And we have Sam Jones, who I think is just the best of all these cards. He's basically those guys with half quick for his step. So for that reason, he's C tier. No other reason. He's nothing spectacular. Not awful, but he's decent. And we got Girvin. I mean, Girvin, he was C tier. I'm going to put Girvin B tier. They gave him hot zones, basically. They gave him no hot zones outside the 3, which meant he was a bricklayer on current gen. And now he's a somewhat decent shooter. He can get basically every badge in the game. Yeah, he's B tier. He's B tier, and you can maybe argue A. He's probably the best wing in B tier, and I might end up moving him up to A. I have not used him since he's got his hot zones, though, because he was a certified bricklayer previously, but haven't used him since the hot zones. Dwight Howard, I mean, I'm going to put him bang smack in the middle in C tier. He is the best at what he does, which is be this really, really fast center, running around and blocking everybody, and catching boards. He was the best at what he does as in a speed center, catching lobs, pick and roll center. The only problem with Dwight is that he can't shoot the ball at all. And if you can't shoot the ball at all, you're not making my team. So even if you are the best at what you do, you're going bang smack in the middle. Karl Malone. I mean, fully badged up Karl Malone's pretty nice. A good card in game, horrible human being, but I mean, fully badged up, he's C. He's definitely C. We got D Rose. Am I jumping the gun and saying Derrick Rose is fully badged up as S tier? Am I jumping the gun saying that? Maybe it's like recency bias, but D Rose is a god. D Rose is a god. He's basically like John Wall with range. He's fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic. D Rose, get into S tier for me. James Harden, no clams, E tier. He's like worse Pete Maravich, so I can't necessarily put him there any higher than that. Vince Carter, worse Dominique, C tier. Like, these guys combine for a significant amount, and they're like C tier and E tier. And we got LeBron James. This is a tough one. Do I put him in S or do I put him in A? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in S tier, but I mean, he could be down an A. He really could. LeBron has got a really decent jumper. Nothing spectacular, like. It's not like it's this jumper that is the equivalent of Steph Curry or J.R. Smith or something, but it's pretty okay, especially next gen. Next gen, he comfortably belongs in S tier. I would give him A tier in current gen because he can't shoot with the corners, but still really, really good in defense. Still super, super fast. If you like to play a fast break game where you're baiting lanes, he's elite, but I don't play that game, so for me, he'd be somewhere in between, but I'm going to give him the benefit of that and put him in S. Then we've got Kevin Garnett. E. I don't like him. He's better than Ewing, in my opinion. It's very similar in level to an Amari Stoudemire. I'm not sure who I would honestly take. If you were to ask me who I would take in a game, Amari Stoudemire, Kevin Garnett, I do not know who I'd take because I used Kevin Garnett and he sold me so badly, 250. Then we got Zion. I mean, we're talking next gen Zion's probably like B. We're talking current gen, he's S. And I'm gonna give him more of a weight on current gen. I might move him. If I'm moving anyone out of S tier, it's Zion. But man, current gen, he's ridiculously good. Like, ridiculous. He is one of the best cards in the game on current gen. But at the end of the day, he's so not good on next gen because his release is broken that if I'm moving anybody out of this tier, it's going to be Zion. It realistically is going to be Zion if I'm moving anybody out. So, anyway, now let's get on to Monte Alice. B tier. He's not as good as John Wall. I'm going to say that right now. There was a lot more hype when he first came out for Monte Alice than any other player. He can still flat out score. It's just there's a lot of shortcomings with this card. He's got a small wingspan. His dribble sigs are only mediocre. He's a good dunker, yeah. He's a good shooter. Only comes with silver range, I'm pretty sure, off rip. Only bronze clamps. His fade isn't. Sorry. Although he has curry base, he doesn't have curry slide or the curry fade, which are not great either. But look, he's good. He's good. He belongs in B tier, somewhere between like 20 and 30 in the game. And we got Googs. I'm sorry, I love Googs, but he's D tier. He's F tier. Of these players right here, the fact that he slipped through the cracks and got onto this list, he belongs in F tier. Anthony Davis. I'm putting him in B. Initially, if you had asked me a month ago who I preferred, Anthony Davis or Kevin Garnett, I would have literally said, and I was like, you know what, these guys, I would definitely take Davis over AG, but it's close. And now I've begun to hate Kevin Garnett more, and every time I use AD, I actually like AD more. AD is one of the best big men in the game. He is money. He is a really, really good card. But I can't like objectively say he's better than Duncan. He might be. If you want to argue him up here, I wouldn't be that against you, but I don't think he's significant. He's enough better than Duncan to split them in tiers. Ben Simmons, F tier. Everyone literally, anytime I put Simmons in F tier or in a reload tier, everyone was like, you don't know how to use him. Just because he can't shoot doesn't mean he's unusable. It's like, no, it's not that I don't know how to use him. I know how you can be effective with Ben Simmons running to the basket. The problem is that if your opponent knows how to stop, knows what to do, they will be able. The game is 5-on-4 on offense. There is nothing you can do when your opponents change the matchup so that their center is guarding Ben Simmons and paints it. There is nothing you can do. Not even next gen contact animations can save you. It's not a factor of somebody knowing how to use Ben Simmons or not. It's whether the player you're coming up against has any idea how to stop Ben Simmons. And if they can stop Ben Simmons, your entire team, your entire just game is just gone. You don't stand a chance then if they're out there stopping Ben Simmons. We got Brandon Ingram. Ingram, I mean, badged up Ingram's B tier. Badged up Ingram. I get it, he only has bronze range, but he's not that far off Jaylen Brown when he's fully badged up. He's really not. He's a really, really good card. His only problem is the fact that he's got bronze range. Either way, though, still a pretty good card there. Then we are on to Nikolajokich. I mean, he's F. He's got gold range, but like, how much better is Jokic than like Larry Markkinen? Obviously, he's got like he has got Dimer and stuff, but like that's basically it. Basically, the difference is that he's got Dimer between him and Larry Markkinen in the same base, like. And we got Red. I mean, Red the same tier as Ray Allen and Klay Thompson. He's not quite as good as a Sam Jones, although he might shoot better than them all. You can definitely argue that as a pure shooter, Red is the best of all of them. But Red is going here into D tier. And we got Milsap, E tier. I'm not going to put him in F tier because he's a god on next gen. The problem is he's got 2 cold zones in the corners, and that's killer. Like, it is... Having cold zones is absolutely killer, lads. Especially on current. On next gen, it's not the biggest deal in the world because he's got a decent release and everything else. And everything else good about the card, just the cold zones are killing him. Then we have got Chris Middleton. I'm sorry, what he does, Chris Middleton's going A tier. If you literally need a 3-and-D cone, he's maybe the best player in the game for you. Like, he's got that range extender. He's got an unbelievably good release. His defense is good. The guy's got some decent length playing at the 2-guard position. His handle is non-existent. But if you literally just need somebody to play the equivalent of how a stretch play, or say how a lock plays in Pro-Am, like clamping up people as well as hitting wide open jumpers, you can't go around Chris Middleton. So Chris Middleton is in here in A tier. Kevin Durant. Ooh, this is a tough one. S. Kevin Durant, S tier. I'm gonna put him in that top 10 cards in the game. I'm putting him in that tier. I think he's definitely better than certain players. And there are 2 players here that I'm putting above LeBron James. I'm moving LeBron James out of A tier, of S tier. I'm moving LeBron into A tier. We got Michael Jordan. I'm sorry, no hot zone, C tier. He's really good on next gen. There's a lot of good things about Jordan as well. Like, it's not like Jordan is just a shooter, but his inability to shoot the ball at an elite level is kind of the reason why Michael Jordan is going into C tier. His defense is elite. His overall game is pretty good, but nah, I think C tier is probably the most fair spot to put Michael Jordan. And we got Melo. D. He's fine. Like, he's a scorer. His defense isn't terrible. It's not good. It's not absolutely terrible. The player build is decent. Maybe if I used him more, you could argue him up in C tier, but I think for now, D tier is probably the best place. Can't shoot from the corners on current gen, which is, again, a bit of a problem. Is he better than Pierce, though? That's the real question. He has some of the same flaws as Pierce. Is he better than Pierce? I'm flipping him. I'm moving Melo down and Pierce up. So I think Pierce is better. I think Pierce in D tier. He kind of belongs there. Bingo Smith. I mean, what do I want to do with badged up Bingo Smith? D tier. The guy can handle the ball. The guy can dunk. He's got a really nice shot. He can get range. He comes with gold clamps. He's one of the best amethysts in the game. He's D. He belongs in D tier. Then we got Glenn, one of my favorite players in the game. He's like slightly worse Zion, but yeah, Glenn's going A tier. Glenn is going into the A tier. He's not quite a top 10 card in the game, but he's not far off. He is really not far off top 10. Then we got Cam Radish. Cam Radish, get on up to S tier, lad. Cam Radish belongs up there in S tier. A ridiculously good card. He is a ridiculously good card. His handle's good. His jumper is good. Again, there is nothing bad about this card, especially considering the fact that Cam Radish, you can basically get him for whatever tax cost, like 30k, if even. He's so cheap. Iguodala, I mean, no range kind of kills him on current, but he is the best defense. He's better. He's just a better Jordan. Even if you can badge up Jordan and give him range, I'm taking Iggy over Jordan. He's better Jordan, so I'm putting him B tier. Again, I don't think he's the worst card ever. I also think that the range is kind of ruins him, but I think everything else is basically perfect. I don't think there's really anything else, any other problem with him except for the fact that he doesn't get range. With Connie Hawkins. I mean, Connie Hawkins is good, man. He's a Dino clone. He's a Dino / Mo Williams clone. Everything, like in terms of his handle and everything, it's the exact same. His handle's pretty good. His release is really good, base 4. There's a lot of things he does well, especially when he's badged up. See Connie Hawkins C tier. Connie Hawkins C tier, and I think I put him a little bit lower on my small forward list, but no, Connie Hawkins is that dude. And we got Jeff Malone. Jeff Malone. He's like smaller Tmac, but he can get clamps. That's literally what he is. So the question is B or C. I'm gonna put him C because he can. If he can play point guard, he'd be B tier. Because he can't play point guard, I'm gonna put him C tier. 6'4", again, his only problem is his height. And we got Elton Brand. Elton Brand, get into F tier. If there was a worthless tier, it would be Paige Stojakovic and Elton Brand. They are a tier below everybody else in this tier. But yeah, Elton Brand definitely belongs down here. He definitely does. Looking at the rest of these cards, no way are any of the other cards comparable to Elton Brand. Paul Westphal. I mean, I love Paul Westphal. I absolutely love Paul Westphal. The only thing is that, can I really argue that Paul Westphal is above E tier? No. No range extender, which is a bit of a problem. Yeah, he's got good defense and Curry, but he's just not good enough to be above E tier. He's good, not that good. And we got Maurice Lucas. Maurice Lucas, for me, he doesn't shoot well enough, but his defense is absolutely elite. He's like better Kevin Garnett, so D tier. Maurice Lucas is what I hoped Kevin Garnett would be. That's the best way to describe it. Like, when I got Kevin Garnett, someone who would occasionally hit a jump shot and play elite defense, he is basically, Maurice Lucas is what I hoped Kevin Garnett would have been when I picked him up. Now we're on to a lot of the new cards, the new Season of Giving cards and stuff. Devon Booker, go get yourself into F tier. Booker, yeah, I get it. He's got base 4 in range. He can hit wide open. So can everybody. He's 3 and D. He's a 3 and D player without the D. He can't dribble. Can't do anything. He is literally 3 and D without the D. He is just a 3-point specialist. Like, that's about it. That's about what he does. We got Jawan Howard. D. When he's badged up, he's alright. His release is a bit iffy because it's Aldridge base, but I don't mind Aldridge base. Like, I've honestly gotten used to Aldridge base at this stage, and I don't mind it, so I'm going to put him in D tier. He's just overall solid. Then we got Mo Williams. Mo Williams is going E tier because he's basically JoJo White. They're basically the same card. Mo Williams, you can maybe argue Mo Williams should be an F tier because he's maybe a slight downgrade over JoJo, but maybe this is the best of the best though. I'm gonna keep him in A. He's my starting point guard. I don't know what I'm saying. Like, I literally run him as my starting point guard. I'm not gonna put him in the bottom tier on this list. And I'm having success running him as my starting point guard. Then we've got J Rich. J Rich, wherever Vince is, he's basically just another Vince. Like, just simple as that. I get it. Like, they were both traded for each other. They both played like similar play styles, but like, come on, 2K, you really made them so similar to each other this year. Not the greatest dribbler, but overall a good card. Then we got John Starks. John Starks is not bad. John Starks, you get into B tier. You get into B tier. At that point guard position, He's a nice player. He is a no. Let's get him to C. Let's get him to C tier because he's not quite as good as Wall or Ellis. And I've also realized I forgot Stockton, who should be will be in this tier as well, and so would probably Darren Williams. Then we get Giannis. I'm gonna put him in A tier, even though I don't like him. If it was me, Giannis Antetokounmpo would be in B tier, but most people would have him up in like A or low S. So I'm gonna put Giannis in A tier. Not a card I particularly like. I'll be the first to say that it's not a card I particularly like. It's Jamal Crawford. C maybe? Like, he's a really fun card to use. I'm not sure how just effective he is to use. But at the end of the day, he's very fun. Got Tmac base and can play offense. So maybe you can argue up in B tier. I'm going to keep him there now. Rudy Gobert. This is a tough one because I prefer him to Duncan. But I'm not entirely sure if I can split them up in terms of tiers. I'm going to keep him in B, but if you want to move these two guys up, like literally, the difference between Duncan and Gobert is preference. It is literally preference who you prefer. I prefer Gobert. A lot of people prefer Duncan. It is literally preference. They're basically the same player. So I'm going to keep them both down in B tier. You want to move them both up to A, it's fine. You want to move your favorite one up to A and keep the other one in B, that's fine. I'm going to keep them both in B tier. Walter Davis. I mean, like, yes, he's like Tmac range and everything. 82-3, not elite hot zones. There are problems with this card. There are definitely problems with this card. I think I'm going to move him with the B, but he's not perfect. He's not Tmac good. I'm telling you right now, Tmac is better than him. Then we've got Bam Adebayo. So as Kendrick Perkins would say, we got Bam Adebayo here. So Bam Adebayo. He's okay. He's like a mobile center. He's like a much worse defensive Shaq, but he can shoot a little bit better. So, not Shaq, Dwight Howard, but he can shoot a little bit better. So I'm gonna put both of them in the same tier. Although if you want to move him down to D tier, I'm not gonna argue that. Dirk, he's a Hall of Fame range extender center, but he's terrible. Oh, I don't know. He's like literally just better Jokic, and Jokic is in here in F tier. I'm going to give the fact that he's got range, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll put him in E tier, but it's a close one. It's a very, very close one with Dirk between E and F tier. Then we have got Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones, in my opinion, belongs in S tier. Eddie Jones is so good. Like, give me Eddie Jones over... Eddie Jones, Cam Reddish are on the same level. Eddie Jones is a tiny bit worse than J.R. Smith. And, like, these guys right here... These are probably my top 9 cards in the game. Yeah, I'll be the first to admit that. These are my top 9 cards in the game. Since I made my top 100 list, like this is literally the top 5 from my top 100 list. And I'm pretty sure Zion was 6. This is the top 6 from that list. And then 3 new cards that have came out since then that I really, really like. Yeah. At least I'm somewhat consistent through the months. But that's what it is. De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox badged up is in A tier. I just think he's Wall with range. He is much better. When you badge up De'Aaron Fox, he's just like much better John Wall. He is a freakishly good card. Great release. Just everything about this card is good. So, De'Aaron Fox, you go and get yourself into A tier. Ja Morant, I mean, he's my backup point guard. E tier. No. He's F tier. I'm sorry. He's just not... He can't get clamps. And it's a deal breaker. And anyone who wants to say, oh, hide your point guard. Yeah, that's fine. You can say hide your point guard, but what happens if you are running into a dude running a double point guard lineup and then like a KD or even a Hito? You can't even hide people on Hito anymore. Every card is getting goal quick for a step at this stage. It's getting harder and harder to hide a point guard. As much as I love Ja Morant, he's going after. And we got Jason Williams. I don't know why I call him D-Will twice. I've literally shot around with this guy. I don't know. D tier. I don't know enough about this card to put a... This is literally just almost a guess. I'm just guessing where he goes. Gordon Hayward again. He's on the list. I have not used this card enough to make an opinion on him. But in terms of his stats and everything, when he gets... Like, he's got pace 28, which is unbelievable. It's like when he gets badged up, he's like objectively, he's going to be at least D tier. Maybe C tier, but I'm going to put him D. Then Wayne Embry. Wayne Embry, A tier. His lack of shooting, for me personally, is kind of something that keeps him off being like really, really good. But no, you can't argue that Wayne Embry's not a pretty decent card. He's a fantastic defender. I wish I could go and get him. He can dribble the ball. He does everything. He's like my perfect center. Him and Draymond. Like if I got him, he'd be my center for 250. It would be Draymond probably starting and him off the bench, and both of them playing the point center style. And like I would be very confident there are very few guys in Europe that would be able to compete with my dual point center lineup. But yeah, so for that reason he's going A tier. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. This is all just my opinion. These are some of the best cards in the game. Not all the best cards, as we said. We forgot Stockton and D-Will. We forgot definitely others as well. But this is all just my opinion. I tried to keep all of the lists as even as possible in terms of numbers. So like there's 9 in this one, 10, 10, whatever, 13, 13, 11, and 10. So like it's not like there are that many discrepancies between the tiers. And I tried to keep kind of even numbers in all of them, so that we didn't kind of go overboard. But again, not everyone's going to agree with every pick, and this is just my opinion as of right now. Tomorrow everything could change if I play a whole bunch of this game. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. That is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.